Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a creativity expert, best-selling author, and unlocks the secret to solving any problem at work, in life, and in the world. No other than Mr. Nir Bashan. I
Hey,
like your.
Daniel. How are you?
I'm fabulous, fabulous, Mr. Neer, and I like your advocacy to solve any problem in the world. I like it. Welcome, welcome on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure thing, Daniel. Thanks for having me on. Great show. Everybody loved your program, so I'm honored to be on. This book is about empowering anybody to become more creative. It's called The Solution Mindset. It's in pre-release right now. It comes out December 30th, so a few days before New Year's Eve. And yeah, man, I travel around the country helping people, organizations, companies, associations become more creative and innovative no matter what they do. Because I believe, Daniel, that every person on earth has a gift to give humanity, and that gift comes in the form of creativity and innovation.
Indeed, Mr. Neer. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And your title promises, or a solution mindset. How is it fundamentally different from just being a positive thinker or a good problem solver?
Great question. So the a solution mindset is looking at problems and finding how to solve them with the innate tools that we were all born with. So there's been recent research, which I feature in this book, about how creativity is actually in our DNA. It's part of who we are. It is literally locked into our being. And what happens is we're all born really creative, and then somewhere along the way we lose it. There's a famous NASA study where they give paper clips to kids, and they say, oh, you're in a spaceship, whatever, something breaks, all you have is a paper clip, what do you do? And the kids have like 600 ideas, Daniel. Like, the kids are like, oh, you can use the paper clip and bend it and it's gonna be great, and put it in the hole and blah blah blah. And then they do repeat the test to later, like fifth, sixth grade kids, not elementary, first grade. They do sixth grade. And then those kids are a little bit less like, yeah, it's just a paperclip, right? And then they do it in college or high school age, and the kids don't know what to do with it. They're like, it's a paperclip. Who cares? Like, we need tools. We need this. We need that. They're not thinking creatively anymore. So, what this book does is it unlocks creativity and innovation for anybody to be able to follow, and it really re-energizes that creativity and innovation that's inside you, even though you don't think that you have it.
Interesting, Miss. Near interesting indeed. You argue that most people have a problem mindset. What does look like in practice, and how does it actively prevent us from finding effective solutions?
Yeah, no doubt. So I think, Daniel, that we all tend to be more negative than positive. And when we view problems through a negative lens, we can't get creative. I've done a ton of research on the English language because I think that the English language is particularly negative, right? So for every positive word, great or terrific, there are six negative words associated with every one positive word. So if we say great, there's bad, horrible, terrible, crappy, on and on and on and on. And then I
Yes.
had my research team look around the world. I said, it's got to be an English thing, it's England or whatever, got sacked by the Moors, the whole deal. And I had them look at something like 62 different languages all over the world. And what we found will shock you. There is between a 4-to-1 ratio and a 12-to-1 ratio of positive to negative words in almost every language.
Hmm.
So we need to choose positivity in order to have problem solving mindsets instead of negative mindsets and mindsets that do not work to solve problems. So, the very nature of our language even prohibits us from being creative, from being innovative. So, we must find a way to choose creativity, to choose positivity in order to solve real problems. But Daniel, that's not only for workplace. It's not, hey, I want to get a raise or how do I do a better presentation? These are the same tools that we can apply to the world at large to solve issues like pollution, issues like healthcare, all of which I discuss in my book, The Solution Mindset, in pre order right now. Target, Walmart, Amazon. It's going to be a big book. Get yourself a copy. It comes out December 30th.
Mr. Near, how does someone with a solution mindset define a problem differently than someone without it?
Great question. So when we look at things with a creativity, a solution type of mindset, what we are doing is looking at a problem that is not limited by the scope of the issue. So looking at problems creatively and innovatively allow us the potential of solving those exact issues that we think are unsolvable. I'll give you an example, Daniel. In my book, I talk about Titoan Benicot, who's a really great guy, a friend of mine. And he was 16 years old and he surfed the same spot his whole life out in Tahiti, right? Every day he'd show up, he'd surf. That was his thing.
Hmm.
And then one day he goes there and there's no waves, but there's always waves there, right? So
Yes.
him and his friend, they dive, they look, and the reef is, it's bleached out, it's weird. So he does what all of us would do. He goes right away to the house, right? And he starts Googling, like, what's going on with the reef and why isn't there, and he comes up with some ideas. He's like, oh man, maybe we should try this, we should try that. He goes and he talks to the guides on the island who are doing research, the marine biologist stuff. He's like, guys, I got a great idea and we should do this and that and that. And they're like, whoa, buddy, like, whoa, you're 16. Like, you need to get a PhD. That's 4 years of undergrad, 2 years of graduate school, 2 years of PhD school, blah, 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 blah. You need to write a dissertation. You need to be a marine biologist and all of this stuff. And he told them, guys, you know, I love it. I love science. I love you guys, but I just want to go out and do it. And today, Daniel, he has the largest company in the world that does reef restoration. And he got there only because he had the will to try. He had the will to go out there and implement a solution mindset. So that's what I want the readers of this book to get excited by. That's what I want your listeners to get excited by. The thing that defines a solution mindset is looking at a particular problem and going, I am going to figure out a way through no matter what.
Mr. Neer, when faced with a daunting challenge, what is the very first mental or practical step someone should take to shift from a problem focus to a solution focus?
So when you look at particular issues with a problem focus, you see what you don't have, Daniel. And when you look at things with a positive mindset, a solution mindset, you see the things that you do have, right? So instead of focusing on limited resources, which we all could have done, which Tito one could have done when he was looking at the reefs. He didn't know anything, right? He didn't focus on the things that he didn't have. He focused on the things that he did have. And focusing on the stuff that you do have allows you to come up with problem solving that is appropriate for what you're encountering, but also like incredibly cool and creative and interesting, and it kind of catches fire, right? It gets people excited and it's a contagious energy that spreads. So focusing on what you do have instead of not focusing on what you don't have, right? Oh, anybody can make a list. Again, you can be negative. You can go, oh, I don't have this, that, and the other thing. But what you do have is more important to figure out than looking at what you don't have, and solving those problems in that way is critically important.
Very well said, Mr. Neer. Very well said indeed, and what a great story. And a key part of your approach seems to be reframing the problem. Can you give us an example of how a common personal or professional problem looks completely different when you viewed through your lens?
Definitely. So, Daniel, it's really about figuring out the way to look at particular issues in a mindset that allows you potential to solve. And when we free ourselves from a lot of the stuff we put on our shoulders. Listen, we're very hard on ourselves, right? People in general are very hard on themselves. We don't congratulate ourselves when we reach a certain level. We don't celebrate the little victories and the little things that make such a big difference in our day to day lives. And what we really need to start doing is to celebrate those little victories, to look at little accomplishments in such a way that allow us great and beautiful appreciation for the value that we bring. I work with people all the time, Daniel, in different industries. I work in financial services, I work in manufacturing. And across all of these different industries, you have people there that are literally like, hey, I got this done, but I didn't meet my top goal. So I didn't do a good job. And I'm like, wait a second. We need to start shifting our perspective in the way that we look at our day to day lives and our day to day work, and understand that goals should not be measured in great big scoops. They should be measured in very small increments. And when we tend to measure our goals in small increments, we go, hey, I'm doing a pretty good job. It lifts up the mood. It makes you feel better at work. It makes you feel better about what the work is that you are doing. And at the end of the day, it helps with burnout, because people who can't achieve those goals by those baby steps and taking a little bit of time to get there tend to go, well, I'm burned out. I don't know, how I'm going to get through this, and I'm going to quit, or I'm going to quiet quit, where I don't quit physically, but I sit at work and I'm on my phone all day and stuff like that. So when we break down goals, Daniel, we then find ways to celebrate those little successes, and those little successes can take us all kinds of different places that we have not imagined before. And that's where we find some real value of applying a solution mindset.
A solution mindset indeed. And Mr. Neer, what is one simple but powerful tool or framework from the book that listeners or viewers can immediately use to deconstruct a problem or generate solutions?
Definitely. One thing that I really recommend that is really controversial, Daniel. I wrote an article for Psychology Today on it. I'm one of their most read authors on their website and in the magazine. And I wrote an article called Don't Make Friends at Work. And people tell me all the time, Nir, this is what are you talking about? Don't make friends at work. And I tell people, and your listeners right now, Daniel, the one thing that people can do right now to become more creative at work is to stop making friends at work, right?
Yes.
Make associations, make connection, make great colleagues. But friends are for, people you meet at church or your kid's soccer game or at the temple or whatever. It's not for workplace. And being able to separate those things empowers you to become more creative. You're very excited because you got a good review, or you did really great, or you got a promotion, and your bestie sitting over at the next cubicle is not that excited about it. Trust me. She's not that happy that you got that promotion. Instead of spending all that time and energy and, I got to make friends, and, she's not at my level, and so I shouldn't stick my neck out. What it ends up doing when we try to make friends at the workplace, it ends up limiting our ability to get to the next stage, to use our workplace as a conduit of creativity and innovative thoughts. It just limits us. So I highly recommend to your listeners, and I know it's controversial. I know we're going to get emails. I know we're going to get some thoughts about this, but it is essential that you use work for work and make really good friends and connections and stuff like that outside of the workplace. Focus on what you need to do. What will end up happening is you will be more creative and innovative. You won't be afraid of taking a risk on an idea and a challenge and solving it in a new and different way. And it will allow you, I think it'll take a lot of weight off your shoulders. Sometimes when all of our friends, oh, my work bestie and my work husband, my work wife, and all this stuff, we lose that sense of what we're there to actually do, and it blocks some of that creative and innovative stuff from getting out. I highly recommend that we stop looking to make friends at work and we start to look at ways to solve problems in new and creative ways.
Beautifully articulated, Mr. Neil. Totally, totally empowering. And yes, stop making friends at work. How does the solution mindset help us overcome our own cognitive biases that often keep us stuck circling the same ineffective solutions?
Yeah, so the we're incredibly interesting creatures. Human beings are incredibly interesting creatures, right? Um, Part of the research around language, which we talked about earlier, shows us that language, Daniel, was necessary back in the day, right? Because when we were roaming and living in caves, it was like, don't eat that yellow berry because it'll kill you. Don't do that because, something will happen, and so on and so forth. So, my approach to problem solving and understanding the biases that come in the human experience is incredibly, incredibly important. And what ends up happening is we kind of settle into a rhythm. We settle into a routine that is oftentimes counterproductive. And not only that, it's oftentimes not what it is that we really want to be doing. And when we start listening to ourselves and we start getting more creative, we start to align with goals that will actually make us happy, things that will actually make us want to go to work or want to do a particular activity or task. So there are tons of biases out there. One of them is language. One of them is positivity versus negativity. One of them is, building unnecessary connections at work when we really need to have associates and good colleagues and not, besties and people that we tell our deepest, darkest secrets to, right? So we are literally creatures of a bunch of these biases that have accumulated over the years to get us where we are, and recognizing the advantages of kind of churning down the volume on some of these, then turning up the volume of creativity and innovation really help us get to where we need to go.
Mr. Neer, as a creativity expert and best-selling author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
So, short term goal is to have a great book launch. This is an incredible book. It came together in just a few short months. My first book took 7 years to write. So, I know I am onto something good. Daniel, we have people coming out of the woodwork, very excited about this book, going, hey, I really want to be a part of it. We have different corporations and people around the country who are really supporting it. Short term, we want every one of your listeners to get a copy of this book. It is The Solution Mindset. My name is Nir Bashan. There are like 3 Nir Bashans in the entire world. So it's easy. I'm easy to find. It is on Amazon. It is on Walmart. It is on Target. And other bookstores, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you like to buy books. It is in pre-order now. Go ahead and click on a copy. That is my short-term goal, that you click and get a copy sent to you on December 30th. Long term, Daniel, I want to keep doing keynotes and workshops and helping every single person in this country feel that they are creative, tap into that creative energy, and help them understand that creativity is not just about art or music. That's the only small part of what creativity really is. At large, creativity is about problem solving, the things in the world that we all think are so beyond fixing, right? The environment. Oh, how can little Nir or little Tito One affect such a big problem, right? Healthcare, unemployment, all of these things can be solved. All of them can be resolved, and humanity can literally save itself from every single problem that we've created. And I've only found one thing that will work in saving us as a human race, as a society, and that is getting creative about the way that we solve problems. When we put our minds together, when we are at best hearkening into that DNA that we were all born with to solve problems, there is nothing in this world that cannot be solved without the use of creativity.
Good luck to your goals, Mister, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Uh, if you want to be like me, wow,
Yes,
that's a good
like you,
question.
Mister Nir Bashan.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, read. I would read more. Read books, because that's what you need to get where you want to go. Read the knowledge out there. In some of these business books are amazing. The knowledge out there in the classics are amazing. Socrates, Aristotle, all the foundational works of Western thought are incredibly rich and complex. And in a lot of the past, Daniel, you will find the solutions for the future. Read as much as you can. If you want to be more like me, read everything that you can get your hands on. I read probably a book a week now. I only read nonfiction because I love fiction, but like if I only have time for one thing, I'm going to read nonfiction, historical nonfiction, political nonfiction, philosophy. I read nonstop. I recommend that your listeners, and I think I'm at the right place to say this. I highly recommend your listeners read a lot more.
Lot more people read a lot more and learn every day. And thank you for that advice, Mr. Neer. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Like one that's not mine.
Yes, please.
That's a good one. Okay, so let me look at my bookshelf. What have I read lately? Michael Finkel's The Art Thief, great book. Okay,
Mhm.
great book. What he did was he followed around a art thief for about 7 years, and he wrote about one of the most prolific art thieves in the entirety of the continent of Europe. And this guy stole millions of dollars of rare, irreplaceable art. Then his mom gets involved, and there's a whole girlfriend element and a love triangle that emerges, and all of it is true, all of it is real. All of it really happened. It's Michael Finkel's The Art Thief. I read it probably, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. I'm still thinking about it. It's a great book, and I love it.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Neer. And for someone overwhelmed by a problem right now, what is one question they can ask themselves today to immediately begin shifting their perspective?
I think one question that we all need to ask ourselves, Daniel, is why do we view things as a problem? Why do we view things as limitations? The world is literally set up for creative solutions. Ask yourself, hey, is this problem something that I can't solve? And if the answer is yes, then change your perspective. Let the answer be no, I can solve it. I can come up with an idea and apply it. So ask yourself, why not?
Why not? Let's have the solution. And Mr. Nair, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my Abstract Essay is already in fifth season, Abstract Poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my Food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101 Love Letters in third season, and my movie 101 review and music 101 in fourth season, and science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Near, if readers could only one remember one core principle from the solution mindset, what you want that to be.
So I think a principle to remember from my book, The Solution Mindset, in stores everywhere, December 30th, Amazon, Target, Walmart, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you buy books, is that you can solve any problem that pops up ever. And the ability to do that is in every single human being on earth. It just needs to be reawakened. You need the 10 tools that are in this book with all of the sub tools in there. We got incredible stories from making bourbon to renewable forest. It's got every single issue in humanity, from corruption to pollution, and we offer solutions in that book that anybody can use that are incredibly powerful. And yes, you could do it. Yes, we have solutions. Yes, creativity will work. And I can't wait to see what your audience thinks of the book, Daniel.
Mr. Nir Bashan, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support the solution mindset? Mr. Nir, can you please again invite our listeners?
Yep.
Especially the pre order.
Definitely. So it is on Amazon, Target, Walmart. It is called The Solution Mindset, Mastering the Art of Problem Solving. It is in pre-release right now. It comes out December 30th. Please get a copy. You will not regret it. This book will change your life.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Nir Bashan, especially the pre-ordering. It will measure how the success of the book. So, Mr. Nir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Really appreciate it. Excellent show.
More to come, people. See you soon.